Bonjour mes amis et bienvenue à une autre vidéo de français avec Monsieur Robichaud. Hello my friends and welcome to another French help video with Mr. Robichaud. In today's video, we're going to be talking about le futur proche en français, and I guess in English this would translate to the near future tense. So let's start off by looking at what exactly is le futur proche. Well, le futur proche is a verb tense. It's similar to le présent, le passé composé, le futur simple. So it's just another verb tense that we need to know. And the reason we need to know this verb tense is because it helps us describe actions that will occur soon in the future rather than something that will occur in the distant future. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that we would use the futur proche when we want to talk about something like tomorrow morning I will wake up and brush my teeth. That we would use the futur proche. We could also use the futur simple for, but we could use the futur proche in this example. Now, something I wouldn't use the futur proche for was maybe in 5 years I will be getting married. That's something that is more off of in the distant future, or in many years I will be retiring as a French teacher. And like I said, that's something in the distant future, so I wouldn't use the futur proche. I would just use the futur simple. So in French, in order to conjugate the futur proche, we need two verbs to help us do this. The first thing we're going to need is the verb aller, and that's au présent, so in the present tense. And we're going to need a verb, and it's whatever verb you're going to be using at l'infinitif. So remember how I said there's another verb tense to talk about the future in French? That's called le futur simple, and we're going to be focusing on the futur proche. So we've got two of these verb tenses in French, and well, how do I know which one to use, monsieur? Well, if you forgot about our rule before about one being used for the near future and one being used for the distant future, take a look at this chart and things will start to make a lot more sense. Here we go. We see le passé composé, so the past tense. We see le présent simple, so the present tense. And then we see the futur proche and we see the futur simple. So this is the one I'm talking about, the distant future. And this is the one that I'm talking about is something that's happening in the near future. Okay, so le futur proche. And this is the one that we're going to be looking at today, le futur proche. So, like I said, the first part we need is the verb aller au présent. This is how it conjugates in French in the present tense. Je vais, which means I go or I am going. Tu vas, il va, elle va. Nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. Okay, so very simple. If you don't already have this memorized, by the end of this video, I guarantee you're going to have it memorized. So let's go on to part two. Now, part two, like I said, we need the verb au infinitif. And what is l'infinitif? What does it mean? You may see this word all the time in French and you have absolutely no idea what it means. That's okay. I'm going to tell you what it means. It basically means the unconjugated form of the verb. So it's a fancy word for saying the verb by itself. So verbs in the infinitive end in either er, ir, or re. And some examples of them are parler, sortir, fondre, manger, partir, prendre. So now that we got both those parts down packed, let's put everything together. So let's use the verb sortir, which means to leave, and we're going to use that as our example. So remember, the first thing we need is aller au présent, so je vais sortir. And in the futur proche, it would be je vais sortir. So if you want to say I will leave, and you're talking about that you're going to be leaving, let's say soon, you can use the futur proche and say je vais sortir. The next one is tu vas sortir. Il, elle va sortir. Nous allons sortir. Vous allez sortir. Ils, elles vont sortir. So just like passé composé, you'll notice that it's a very easy tense to do. The hardest thing to remember is aller au présent. Other than that, you just need to know how to spell the verb. And most of the time on questions, the verb is given to you. And it's already in the infinitive. And if it's not, do your best to turn it back into the infinitive. Whatever the ending that you had to add was, take it off and add the original ending back. So this is how you may see a lot of questions, especially when it's asking you to conjugate things in the futur proche. There's two blanks. Remember, we need two verbs. We need aller au présent, and then we need the infinitif or the unconjugated form of the verb. So let's deal with one thing at a time. So let's look at number one. Nous blank blank en voyage cet été. Well, I know that the first blank needs to be the verb aller au présent, and if I remember my chart, nous allons. So my first answer over here would be nous allons. Blank en voyage cet été. The second blank needs to be this verb in the unconjugated form. Now, partir is already in l'infinitif. It ends with the IR. It's the unconjugated form of the verb. So all I'm going to do is copy partir on there. So, nous allons partir en voyage cet été. We will leave on vacation this summer. And that's all there is to it. So you need to conjugate the first verb, and then you're just adding the second verb in the infinitive. It's very easy. The second one, je blank blank un nouveau voiture demain. And we're going to conjugate acheter into the sentence. So let's get rid of aller au présent first. So, je vais. So, je vais and acheter. We're just going to add acheter over here. So, je vais acheter un nouveau voiture demain. So, I will buy a new car tomorrow. The third question. Les professeurs blank blank de travailler bientôt. And the verb is going to be arrêter, which means to stop. So, something about the teacher stop working soon. I wonder why. So, les professeurs is plural, right? We see the S's, and we know that it's more than one person, and we're talking about other people. We're not talking about me and other people. We're not talking about you and other people. We're talking about the teachers. So we're going to use ils and elles. Les professeurs vont, and like I said, we're going to put arrêter right in there. Les professeurs vont arrêter de travailler bientôt. Okay, the next one. Le film blank blank, and the verb we're doing is commencer. So something about the movie starting. So, le film is not je, it's not tu, so it must be il or elle. We're talking about the movie. So, le film va, and putting commencer in, commencer. Le film va commencer. Okay, next one, il fait beau, nous blank blank à la plage. So, it's nice, we blank blank to the beach. So, we want to go to the beach. Or we are going to the beach. So, nous allons, and aller, we're just going to put there. So, il fait beau, nous allons aller à la plage. Now, you may be thinking, hey man, that's a little bit weird. We used aller au présent already to conjugate this first part. So, are we putting aller twice in the sentence? And the answer to that is yes. You are actually you're not double conjugating aller because one is in the infinitive, but you're using the conjugated form. So, we are going to go to the beach. And in English, it really doesn't make sense, but in French, trust me, that rule is more than good. The next one, qu'est-ce que tu blank blank l'année prochaine? And we're going to conjugate faire into it. So, qu'est-ce que tu goes with va. So, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire l'année prochaine? What are you going to do next year? And the last one we have is vous blank blank de la pizza ce soir. And we're going to conjugate manger. So, something about are you going to eat pizza tonight? So, vous goes with aller. So, vous allez. And we're going to put manger in, right? Vous allez manger de la pizza ce soir. And that is how you would do that one. Now, like I said, this is a very easy verb tense. It's one of my absolute favorite verb tenses, and I hope you saw why. It's almost no work. The passé composé and the futur proche are two of my favorite verb tenses because it just requires you to know one other verb, and the rest you're just kind of putting very easy changes into it. And sometimes, like the futur proche, you're not actually changing anything. So, like I told you guys, this is a very easy verb conjugation to know, or verb tense to know. Super simple. It is one of my favorites, and I hope that you saw why. It's literally just like passé composé. You're just changing one or two things, and in this case, all we're doing is adding the verb aller before, and then we're using the verb infinitif. So, I hope that conjugating the futur proche makes a lot more sense now. It should be very easy. And remember this chart over here. Okay, whenever you have to think about which future tense am I going to use, 90% of the time you're going to be talking about le futur simple because you're talking about things that are happening in the distant future. If you're talking about something that you are going to do very soon, then you're definitely going to want to use the futur proche, which we just learned. So, that's all for today. Au revoir mes amis et à la prochaine.